wants to go second? You're beautiful, baby. Yeah, you're beautiful. All right. And that is Eddie Spector, one of the preeminent ghost hunters in Galveston. And I'm just so stoked that he's here. So while we're here, I do want to say to the people that have been here before, that are here, we're barging in, folks. Glad that you're here. I want everyone to know what this is. This is 10 by 9. It is a storytelling group that was brought here to Galveston by way of Chicago. And this is this our 9th show or 10th show? I think it's 8th or 9th. Yeah, I had to look at it. So anyway, it's great that everyone's here. The reason I'm talking still is because we are live, okay? So what Indies does here is broadcast their shows live. And I think we're live over YouTube right now. Now is a good time for everyone to jump on your phones, seriously, and go to 10 by 9, check in to the event or share it with friends, because we're going to be doing this for the next couple hours. We've got that lineup of storytellers. I don't think everyone's here yet. We're missing one. Okay, cool. But, we're going to keep it rolling. So, I didn't expect to come up here and do the full intro. So let me get a beverage, and we're going to start the show in just a few minutes, everyone, okay? Okay, all right. All right. So dumb. So dumb. So, everyone, are you psyched up for Halloween? All right, cool. All right. Well, I feel like I should start the show, and I'm going to as everyone settles in. So, yeah, that's good. Now, I just want to, there we go. Tracy's got her drink. That's what I want. So, I want you to settle in. Yeah, she's going to start us off in a very lovely way in a moment or two. So, we are officially starting, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming to 10 by 9, our next show. Most of you are veterans, and then there's a few of you that I think are surprised to be here. All right. So, for those of you that are surprised to be here, thank you for listening to our show. It is 9 storytellers telling a 10-minute true story. Because there are always newcomers here, I feel like the story needs to be told. Just repeat it in a very quick way this time. I ran into this group in Chicago. I found out it was a Belfast, Ireland storytelling group. I was given permission by the founder from Ireland, a man named Paul Doran, who started 10 by 9 in Belfast. He gave us permission to take the name and run with it here in Galveston. So we've had several shows, 8 or 9, and this is our first show away from our home base. So our home base is Old Galveston Club, friends. We love Old Galveston Club, and we also love Indies. So that's why we're standing out to Indies, and we're having a fun old time tonight. So our first storyteller, I think it's enough for me, right? I've already filibustered for like 10 minutes. So who wants to hear me talk more? I got a story coming up for you later. But our first storyteller is someone that, now, I don't know if she told the story last week. Okay, now she hasn't. Now, she was scheduled. Now, our next storyteller was scheduled to tell a story with us at one point, but then did not do it for reasons that are her own. And that's okay, because I do want to say this, okay? So 10 by 9 is a storytelling group for everyone. Everyone can come in and tell a story. When you feel ready to tell a story, you can come tell a story, a 10-minute true story about your life. We want you to do that. and when you're ready only. Okay, so the door is open from now until the rest of my life, and then whoever my successor will be. Okay, so keep that in mind. We're going to continue to do it. So Tracy was going to tell us a story before. She did not. Now she's back. She's going to tell her first story with us tonight. She's opening, and now I want to do. I do want to say something about you. Okay, what I've recently learned about Tracy is that she is really into the paranormal. Okay, and I was honored enough to go and spend some time with her in January and Aaron, and we were able to do some tarot cards, and I really got a real good sense of the esoteric from her, and I got my interest has been reawakened by all of you, and I'm really excited about this journey into the paranormal here in Galveston, and that is why this night, what this is a practice run for the rest of our lives. Okay, so we're going to do this every year. But anyway, we're starting it tonight with Tracy. She is going to come up and tell a true story about her life. I'm so stoked. Here she is, Tracy Waddles.
Hello, everybody. Hi. Can I take this off? So I feel like trapped right here. Hello. I don't want to get the back feed on you guys. So my name is Tracy Waddle. Hello. I live in Galveston, and I bought my current home in December of 2023. I have seen ghosts my whole life. That is something about me. I descend from a long line of witches. And so when I bought my storm survivor house at the corner of 9th and Church, I was hoping for something. What I got was I live with 7 ghosts on a daily basis. My friend January here has done 4 investigations at my house. We have gotten stuff every single time. We've got some of my ghosts are just very calm. They hang out. They're just there. I have one in my bedroom that hangs out in my dormer. He literally just hangs out there. He's always there. I have the ghost in my closet. She's the scary one. If you've ever seen the movie The Ring, where the girl with the long black hair is coming out of the well, my lady has long blonde hair, and she always has her back to me when I see her. It scares me every time because it's just the creepiest thing to see long blonde hair to someone's butt. I have 2 ghosts downstairs that kind of hang out. They're 2 ladies. They don't like me. They don't interact with me. I have a little red-headed boy. He is about this tall with red curly hair. He bounces around all over the house. I see him randomly. I'll be in my bathroom and he'll just be bouncing down the hallway. Cute as a button. Again, just doing his own thing. I have a lady at the top of the stairs. I live in a 2-story house that's a Cape Cod. So at the top of the landing, there's a woman who hangs out there. My boyfriend's son, the very first time he came over to my house, was scared to go down the stairs because he thought that someone was going to push him down the stairs, which is how I felt when I first moved into the house about the woman at the top of the stairs. But none of them compare to my ghost that lives in my kitchen and dining room. When we've done our investigations, his name is Thomas. That's how he identifies himself. He has a British accent when he comes through on our ghost boxes. We're not quite sure about Thomas. We're not sure if he's just angry or an asshole. One or the other. The very first time I encountered Thomas was a few days after I moved into my house. I sold my condo on the west end of the island and bought my now historic home on the east end. I was the only one who ever bought a house that was owner-occupied that wasn't sold furnished, and I sold my condo furnished, so I was starting with 0. The very first encounter I had with him was I had all these dishes that I had bought spread across my kitchen counter. I left for the evening. A set of tongs was literally in the doorway between my kitchen and dining room. Now one would think, how did it get from that side of the kitchen to the doorway? There's no way it didn't fall. That was my first encounter with him. My second encounter with him came not long after that when I was outside in my yard and I saw his face in the kitchen window, glaring at me. The man is probably in his late 40s or early 50s. He wears a brown suit with a brown bowler cap, and he has a brown mustache. He just scowls. Anytime I have seen him, he is scowling. There's a curtain in my dining room that no matter what, the previous owner had put up horizontal blinds, which I absolutely hate. One by one, they are falling throughout the house because they're just garbage. But the one in the dining room was the first one that fell. No matter what curtain I install on that window, I have 11-foot ceilings. I have installed 11-foot curtains from floor to ceiling that get ripped down. Right now I have some tension rods that hold curtains that he rips out every once in a while. He does not like that window being covered. So I've gotten to where at night when I close the curtains, I just don't close that curtain because it makes him happy and he leaves it alone. During one of our best investigations that we did, I had never done, what are they? Dowsing rods. I had seen them before. Basically, they're two rods that you hold, and you hold them independently in your hand, and you ask questions, and they swing back and forth. I had never used those before. I thought that they were easily manipulated. I was holding the rods, and they were moving just fine on their own as we were asking questions. So a little bit more background on my house. My house was moved to its location in 1931, even though it was built in 1880, and no one's quite sure where it came from. The research I've done, it came from Mechanic. The previous owner thought it came from Broadway. A Jewish family had bought it from a German family and moved it to its location because they were building a compound for their family. So there's 3 houses on the original city lot that they all moved to that location at the same time. So there's 3 houses that came from who knows where. All 3 of us have stuff go on at our houses, obviously. But in our dowsing rod session with Thomas, we were asking about the Great Storm because there was clearly a house at my location in 1930 or 1900, but it wasn't my house, which is why I think that Thomas kind of stays in the dining room kitchen area because that was where his house was. And as we were asking him questions, the room got really heavy. And we finally asked the question, did you die in the 1900 storm? And the response on that video was so intense that my friend January and I were jumping up and down screaming. I threw the dowsing rods down and wanted to run out the front door of my house and never go back because the whole house shook when he responded with this guttural growl. Crust! It was the scariest thing I have ever heard in my life. And I've heard some scary things and I've seen some stuff. So that if my girl wasn't sitting there with me, I'd have been down the street. My friend Thomas has done some other things around the house. He just likes to throw things. He is my absolute thrower. So sometimes I come home and things are in places they don't belong. My dog had a leash that had the poop bag with a flashlight on it. And one night I was walking into my house and I dropped it. And it broke apart. And the 2 little batteries that are like little watch batteries fell out of it. It all busted apart. And I was like, I'll deal with this later. And I put it in the little drawer I have at the front door at my house. About a month later, I come home and go up my stairs. And at the top of the landing are the 2 little batteries. Once again, how did they get out of the drawer and to the top of the landing? And I've gotten to where I try to take pictures when these things happen because usually I just go, pick it up, move it on. And how they got from the bottom of the stairs to the top is beyond me. another example of what he has done. His most recent. He gets wore out pretty quickly because I just like to poke at him all the time. Thomas, leave me alone. Thomas, you're a mean old man. Thomas, go away. I, I just poke at the bear all the time. But my most recent was a few weeks ago. I have undermount lighting in under my cabinets that's they recharge and you magnet them. These things have never fallen. I came home and one of them was on the floor, right side up, bright as day. Just letting me know, yeah, I'm still here in kitchen. You don't get to have your own kitchen. I have a book that if anyone wants to look at it. My friend, my best friend, Diana, who's standing right there, she owns Diana's Bartique on the Strand. She one day, I walked into the shop, it was a weekend, and she said, we had a tourist who left this book behind. And it's about the weekend of the storm. And she's like, since you're into that, if they don't come back and claim it, you take it. Okay. And we're sitting there looking through the book because, we're all, that's who we are. And there's only a handful of pictures in this book. And one of the pictures is talking about a picture of a house that looks like mine. This builder built many houses on the island at that time. It said, this house at that time cost $886 to build, which I can't get any work done on my house for less than $1,000, so yay. But then we keep going through the pictures, and there's a picture of a group of men wearing brown suits with bowlers, and one of them is the spitting image of Thomas that I have seen multiple times. And in my mind, I just always think, the series of events that took place to put this book into my life with a picture of someone who I see in my house. Someone had to buy the book. Someone had to go to Diana's shop. Someone had to leave it there. And the fact that there's on one page a picture of a house that looks just like mine and a picture of the man who I believe is in my kitchen. Just welcome to Galveston. And that is it. That is it.
There we go. They can't end it more perfectly than that. Let's give her a round of applause, everyone. Tracy Waddle sharing her first story with us here, and what a doozy as well. All right, that's what we're here for, everyone. That is what this is about, true life stories, and that is as wild as it gets. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Tracy. All right, we're going to bring up our next storyteller. He is... you know what? I was just talking to him, and I'll tell you something about this guy. He is continuing on the tradition that a man named Dash Beardsley started here on this island. But he's his own guy. He's his own man, and I think that Dash would be very proud to see the guy that he is and that he's become. He killed it at the Mystical Parade of Boo, made quite a statement and a presence, man. I am so thrilled and honored to introduce this next storyteller. His name is Eddie Spector. He's coming up for us right here.
Hello, friends. How are you? Doing good? Yeah, much love to you. My name is Eddie Spector. I've been a paranormal enthusiast for all my life. My mom introduced me in any house that we lived in. If it was haunted, that my mom would say, so-and-so died here, and I saw his ghost the other day, but don't worry, it's fine. Thanks, Mom. That's great. She gave me a Ouija board to take to elementary for show and tell. She hooked me up. She was a powerhouse, and we miss her. But anyway, I've been into the paranormal all my life. As a kid, I would come here in Galveston and take photos with my disposable camera and try to take photos of ghosts that I know that I went on the internet in '95. Ghosts right there. And so I would try to take photos and do that. And This is Halloween stories, right? This is stuff we've we've had in the past. But what I'm going to talk about is a Halloween story that is part of the past, but also the present and also the future. Um, First of all, when it comes to paranormal, I am a scientist as one. I need you to know that. I am a skeptic. I need to make sure that it's not like power lines or anything like that is causing this stuff. I'm not going to freak out and be like that. I need to make sure that everything is legit. And through paranormal devices, I go through them quite a bit and I look up what we use to try to detect these people. And remember, there are people, they are us who passed on. All right? When you talk to a spirit, don't say, "Oh, it's a ghost, ghost, ghost." Hey, it's Ralph from who died by eating a hot dog too fast. All right? Just give respect. All right? So, through these investigations, we have to give that respect. And when I go through the devices that we use, it's very interesting. All the devices that we use are like detectors to see if a ghost is there, right? Well, I I learned of a lot of information about how not to just detect spirits, but to activate them or to let them know that we're here. In 1989, there was a man named Douglas Benjamin that took a photo of a copper pyramid with a Tesla coil inside and using Carillion photography. Carillion photography, by the way, is using high voltage to take a photo of an object. Say you take a leaf and cut a leaf part off of it. Using Carillion photography, you can take a photo of it, and this corona energy can still see the darn leaf. Okay? So using Carillion photography, he took a photo of this copper pyramid with a Tesla coil inside, and it appeared to be a double helix, like a DNA strand coming up from the top. I was like, that's amazing. What is this? What are we withholding? What are we not exploring? And it also goes to the idea of there's a certain type of glasses that you can have where you take two lenses and you sandwich it in between a layer of cyanide dye, which is illegal, by the way, a dye. When you put them on, you can see the aura of people. Yeah, we don't want to showcase that. So I took this idea from Doug Benjamin, and I said, I need to do this. It's been a long time, and this is the past that I'm talking about, and the present that is now in the Halloween stories. I have created a device with a copper pyramid, with a crystal on top, a quartz crystal, with the Tesla coil inside, and I have it powered. I know January has felt some kind of weird energy from it, but it does create a lot of energy. A lot of energy. And it is high powered, so that's why I have it locked with a key. I have it this time. I had to get bolt cutters for the last time. Oh, by the way, this seems like a stand-up routine, so I'll tell a joke that I made up. You remember when you were a kid and your dad or somebody, a family figure said, I had it up to here with you. Up to here? Why didn't you start down below? I mean, come on. I mean, that's how I started talking to people socially. They said, hi, how are you, Eddie? Oh, I've had it up here with you. I gave you a chance. Should I have played like music or something while I set this up? Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun. No, not circus music. Come on. have created here is a quartz crystal top with a Tesla coil inside, and it may create a lot of activity or something like that. But what this is not a detector. It is a lighthouse or a beacon for spirits to know that we are here to talk, for us to talk to the other side. That's the only thing. And it creates so much energy. I didn't get permission from everyone to do this, but good luck. Anyway. Thank you. And what is really great about this is that when I turn on the device, we use this microphone not only as a recorder, but a live recording. We could actually hear if anybody says anything. Hello, this is Eddie Spector. If anyone is here, we would love to speak to you. And this is the present time. We are here if you'd like to talk to us. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to anyone? All right, this could only be on for a moment, and that's it. Is anyone here that would like to talk to us? That is feedback right there. But the communication will be on after. Friends, I'm not sure exactly what this is going to do. It is new science. No one's ever created this device at all. Um, it's high energy. It will mess up your device like your phone. It will pause a video. It will do that. I did, but I can't let any of that in right now, especially since I can't ask everybody, are you ready? Let's do this. I'm just presenting a device, what could be done, um, and I look forward to new devices as well in the future. But friends, do you have any questions at all? Oh, 2-minute ghost story. Well, take me 2 minutes to take that away and all that stuff. But let's see. Ghost story. Well, I live on a boat, and there was a houseboat that I lived on, and I had a mini studio where I had amplifiers and drums and guitars and stuff like that inside. And my wife at the time was crocheting a blanket, and she put the ball of yarn and everything on the side of the counter. And the next morning, after doing a ghost tour, by the way, I noticed that the ball of yarn, the string, was strewn across the room through the mini blinds and then across the room underneath a 250-pound amplifier and then back across the room laying on top of my guitar. So I said, that's cool. And then when my wife came home, I said, check this out. She said, why did you do that? Wife, I didn't do that. But why would this have happened? She goes, whoever you brought home, don't bring them home again. I said, all right, so spirits, listen to me. I love you. I'm here to help you. But just like Vegas, let's keep it in Galveston. All right? Friends, I'm Eddie Spector. Much love. Thank you so much.
All right, once again, everyone, let's give it up for Eddie Spector bringing us a brand new paranormal device. It is amazing. I don't know about you, but I felt something. I heard something, and I am thrilled that Eddie brought that to us. So we got our next storyteller waiting in the wings. She is a veteran of 10 by 9 Galveston. She is a real mainstay, and she's always got a great story to tell. Her name is Jenny, and Jenny Strom, or Jenny Jenga. She is coming up right here. We love her. We know her by many names. Oh my God, it's her birthday. Oh my God. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jenny. Happy birthday to you. There's no better way. Give her a hand. We love her.
I'm good. Hello? Okay. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. I will be sharing these 3 experiences that still give me chills. I live near a net intersection where I'd witness accidents all the time. I helped out, call 911, and do my best to aid my mom before the paramedics arrived. I started about 8 years old, trying to save lives. But one accident stands out in my mind. A van collided with a school bus, and I rushed to the scene. I found myself in the back seat, not knowing how I got there, with just a bra on, of course, the other clothes, but not a shirt, holding my shirt against a child's wounded face and head, trying to keep him calm. Their mother was frantic, screaming and crying for her children and her husband. Still holding on to the child's face, I wrapped my arm around the mother up front and held her arm. I stayed with her until the paramedics arrived, but unfortunately, she didn't make it. After that accident, I started experiencing strange occurrences. I seen an old lady in a rocking chair, and I'd feel her presence around me when I walked the area. One time, I even felt her hand holding mine as I crossed the highway. The last time I saw her, she was sitting in a rocking chair outside the bar near my house, smiling at me. Her last words were, "Tell them I've done all I could do. You are loved, child." The second experience is one that's still sweet to me. About 10 years ago, we were at a fancy restaurant, and I requested a jazz band to play the song Ain't No Sunshine. My girlfriend's eyes lit up, and she mentioned how much her mom loved that song. Fast forward to Christmas time. A few years later, we were decorating the Christmas tree, trying to get into the holiday spirit after both of my partner's parents had passed away that year. As we sang along to a holly jolly Christmas, the music suddenly switched to Ain't No Sunshine. I was skeptical, but my partner just smiled frighteningly and squeezed my hand. It was then I felt this strange sensation, like a presence in the room. The lights on the tree began to flicker, in sync with the music, and it was the universe trying to tell us something. And now, before I begin my other experience, I want to take a moment to acknowledge October is Depression Awareness Month. And as someone who lives with major depression disorder, I want to remind all of us that it's okay to feel hopeless, and it's okay to reach out for help. I've been through my fair share of skepticism, with some people thinking I'm making it all up or calling me crazy or an attention seeker. So, which I'm careful now of whom I share with. I've been to therapy, and while I may not fit neatly into a specific diagnosis, I have worked hard to get the help I need. I was evaluated for schizophrenic, but I was not diagnosed that. What is important is that I got and still get the support I need, and I'm still here. I'd also like to take a moment and acknowledge my friend Jay, who passed away this past Saturday. He was a dear friend that let his demons finally win. His memory will live on in the stories I share and the laughter we had. So, this story I'm about to share, I've been preparing for about a couple weeks, and Jay is actually a part of my story, which I believe Spirit and Guide led me to write this. So, I hope and listen with an open heart and mind. Boom, bada, boom. And remember, mental health matters, and you're not alone. There was a time I did a lot of hallucinogens, but not this time of day. At our homeboy's house, rolling doobies, little boy ran to the garage saying he saw someone run through the blooming wisteria and banana trees. We all went out there, and a couple of guys were ready to throw down. It was nothing behind those damn trees. The doobies were lit, and Jay swore he saw a lady look into the garage. We didn't believe him. The following day, we were all sober on a Saturday morning. We were all good, chilling and chatting, sitting in a circle on the floor surrounding a rectangle glass table, the coffee table, playing Rat Fink, a card game. One of us started laughing, then we were all laughing, giggling, then nonstop. Can't breathe laughing. And all of a sudden, the room stops. Silence. All of us made eye contact, and the table then shattered. We were all shocked, adrenaline pumping, and that's when things got weirder. Later that night, a few of us were partaking in some microdots. Josh and Jay swears there's a ghost that people are seeing that's peeking and running all around their home for months. Trees swaying, voices being heard, rooms glowing, faces dripping. We all saw the CD case sling out of the CD rack a couple weeks back, but we never thought anything of it. Fog started creeping, and everything was getting wet and dewy. Little sperms floating upwards out of the fog and mist that turned into ghosts and tiny specks floating upwards, just drifting aimlessly. And then they started to take shape. The air grew colder, and the shadows seemed to move of their own accord. And from behind the fog, a whisper, soft and gentle, sounds of humming. And then, out of nowhere, wah! Jay screamed, but it wasn't a scream of fear. But I wasn't laughing because I saw her standing right behind him with flowers in her hair and a guitar in her hand, and then it went all black.
That is the way to end a story right there. Let's give her a hand once again, everybody. That is Jenny Strom. It is her birthday. Happy birthday. We are so happy. Hey, we are so happy to have you participate and be a part of this group. You're such an integral part of this group, Jenny, and we're so happy to have you here every time. You always kill it. And speaking of killing it, we have our next Ghost Tour host coming up. In fact, yeah, if you haven't noticed, we have a few of those here tonight. And yes, her name is January. And oh, you're not up next? I thought, yeah. Pardon me? Did we switch? All right. So January's up, ladies and gentlemen. It is January. She's going to tell us a story right here. Ladies and gentlemen, January Lee.
Right. Can someone tell me which timeline we're in? No, it's timeline where I'm going. All right, guys. This one. Will you time me? Sorry, I can't time. All right, guys. We're going to hop in the time-space machine to San Antonio, Texas, 2002. And this is a very spooky time-space machine today. And in San Antonio, Texas, in 2002, I used my student loan money to buy a car. You're not supposed to do that, by the way. $3,000, got my little money, went up, found the green sheet, had to call some numbers, found a car. And this was an awesome car. It was a Volvo 740DL 1985. All black leather interior, beautiful black carpet, cool crank sunroof. So one night, it's kind of late, I was driving I-10 towards 1604 in San Antonio, and that's in the city. And I noticed that there was nobody out, which was weird, but that's okay, cool. Just cruising in my Volvo. And I look in my rearview mirror, and there's a dude sitting in my back seat. I don't know what my body did to this day, but my car started spinning on I-10. And when my car stopped, I was facing the wrong way on I-10. I immediately turn around. I think I'm about to fight, right? There is somebody in my back seat, and I'm fighting in the middle of the freeway. There's nobody there. I'm searching. It's too big for my arm, but there is nobody there, and it didn't matter because now I'm facing into traffic, and it's the hill country, and I see lights in every lane come up over the hill on its way to me. I think had I been anywhere else, I would have gotten out of that car and never gotten back in it. But I hurried up, turned around, left, and I had some experiences. That car, I was often not traveling alone. And I had knew ghosts were real, but I guess I didn't know they were that real. So to buy that car, a guy said, meet me here on the north side of San Antonio in this really rich neighborhood and meet me in my driveway. Here's my check. And I remember opening the trunk and looking in and looking at the guy and saying, whoa, you could fit a ton of dead bodies back here. And he just stared at me. Okay? I was like, cool, full tank of gas. Off I go in my Volvo. And by the way, the gas gauge didn't work. It was not a full tank of gas. It just always was on full. That was fun. So I am at UTSA at the time, and I'm driving out, going to do whatever odd job I had at the time, and the police pull me over. And I'm thinking, oh no, they're asking about my car. I'm like, oh no, they know I bought it with my student loan money. They're going to put me in jail. And he pulls off the front sticker, and he says, this doesn't belong to this car. And I was like, oh, no, okay. So I have to give him all the information of where I got the car, who I called on the green sheet, all of that. He calls me the next day, and he said, I talked to the people where you bought the car. They've never sold a Volvo. They don't know anything about this. So the guy basically had me meet him in some random person's driveway. That number is disconnected. It was a burner phone. And this car has not been registered since the day it was built in 1985. Yeah. So the gentleman with the Serbian accent that sold it to me in some rando's driveway, who dead-eyed me when I said this trunk can fit a lot of dead bodies. I mean, I hope he wasn't a ghost, but for Pete's sake. And now I have this car. And, me and my buddies, we drove around for a little while. I will say that shortly after that, I recall begging my mom to co-sign for this Mazda because I had to get out of the Volvo. But happy Halloween, everybody.
All right, once again, everyone, let's give it up for January. Of course, January Lee. And I must say, of course, in case everyone doesn't know, January and Carla, who's not here tonight, but January and Carla have both stepped up and are now taking the reins of 10 by 9 along with me, and we're all doing it together, of course. And I can't forget to give a shout-out to the person who got the ball rolling with us. It's Judith Smith with ATC Events. Event management, but anyway, she is very dear to me and dear to this whole thing. So I'm glad that y'all are here. Good to see you guys back there. So we are going to take what we've a new tradition we do at our 10 by 9 Galveston. We're going to take a 10-minute break. It's an opportunity for everyone to run in the restroom, get yourself another drink or beverage, and then we're going to start back with 4 more storytellers. Now, before we do that, one more thing I want to say. Because we are, Brandon, we're all right to go till 9, right? There it is. So, the owner is really fucking cool. In fact, let's all give him a hand. Brandon Jones. Brandon and his wife Carla brought Indies here, and they are doing some great things all the way around. I mean, get to know what I say in video, and I say it in person. I say it to everybody. Get to know Brandon and Carla. You're not going to be disappointed. They're good people, really good people, and this venue is amazing, and they've got all kinds of great stuff coming, as well as they got it going on right now. We are live on YouTube. Is that correct? Yep. Okay, so if you can't hear what Brandon's saying, what he does, he's got a setup here. Okay, yeah, I think everyone should know. He's got a great setup here that when he goes live, like we're live now, it goes out to multiple platforms. And that happens for all the shows here. Yep, so that's happening. So this is the first fully recorded 10 by 9, I think. Yeah, that makes it fully recorded. So my story is going to be recorded. I don't know about that. Maybe we'll ask that to be. Okay, never mind. We got a 10-minute break, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Get on the horn. Tell everybody we're doing this till 9. I've got 3 stories to tell.
Hey everybody, hey, thanks for coming out to Indies. Just wanted to let you know I'm about to put on some music here. The people you're going to be listening to now are people who actually play here. Okay, so we actually do singer-songwriters here. We don't do cover artists. So just come out, support us, support the artists, please. They're actually really good and they try to make a living at this, so let's help them out.
sleeping with the stars. Dream about the streets of gold, living in the past so we never grow old. Passing time on my granddaddy's land. I started shooting the shit and then I started a band, cause I'm a country band man. Smoking weed, cooking contraband. I grew up in the southern land, playing guitar with my calloused hands. I'm a country band man.
All right, Brandon, thank you for showing me that button. I got the button. All right, so we are just getting things back to get rolling in just a minute here. But thank you. I already hit the button. I was going to wait for my drink to, yeah. Because, see, we got Brandon doing everything here, of course, because, he is the owner and proprietor. So I ordered a delicious drink. So, I'm here pulling up my belt in front of everybody. Here, look, everybody. Might as well pick my nose next, right? Anyway, so I'm just up here kind of filibustering for a moment, just giving everyone the 2-minute warning.
Y'all give it up for Scott Morgan from Riverman Productions out here doing our video. And Adam McFarland making this record happen, man. Appreciate it, dude. Thank you. This next song, I'm gonna go ahead and play this, man. I'm gonna get political with you. So, basically, there's crooked politicians out there. Everyone's crooked that's in politics, man. So, hope you can dig on that. And then, pretty much, that's what this song's about, like, if you don't feed into it, like, they can't eat, basically. So this song's called Vultures. Vultures only live off what you feed them. So you can go ahead and scrape your lies up off the road. I mean, what's a man's worth if all his living's evil? He's just a money-hungry fool left with an empty soul. Think I'm gonna go on down to the cemetery so I can dig up every grave of every righteous man that's ever walked. Now I'm gonna conjure up their bones to dance now so they can teach politicians the proper way to talk. Now you can take a sack of hope and build with it a statue. That must have been a good way to share change with your friends. But all the hope in the world can't change your pitiful actions. You're just a puppet on a string, but I'm a wolf amongst the lambs. See, vultures only live off what you feed them. So you can go ahead and scrape your lies up off the road. Thank y'all. So, story about this next song. I was living in the mountains of Colorado, and I was working on a couple ranches up there, going around playing some music. And me and my buddy, Jess Johnson, were living in this basement apartment. He said he actually still lives there, but we're living in this basement apartment, and like.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am back. I'm your host. So I never did properly introduce myself. I'm going to be a little more official, although we are here with friends and family and everything. And I consider this is our 10 by 9 family. Thank you so much, Brandon. Brandon pulling multiple duty here today. Okay. So anyhow, I'm going to do a reintroduction. Okay, so we are back. 10 by 9 Galveston is back. This is the second part of our show. Just a quick announcement for everyone. Again, since we're keeping it so friendly and fine and intimate here, feel free. We can actually have fun with this after the show is officially wrapped up and come back and tell a few more stories. I got a bunch loaded up. But, ladies and gentlemen, I am the host, and I am also a storyteller. So I'm going to put my storyteller hat on right now and start. Despite being the host of historic Galveston ghost tours on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights, I have never seen a ghost, nor do I have any very interesting paranormal experiences. Not yet, anyway. But I've had some really scary experiences here in Galveston, and since I had to miss the last show titled Drunk, I decided to tell my scariest tale of drunkenness. Here I was, new to the island for only a couple months in the year 2010. I had successfully moved my life from Michigan to Galveston, and I was feeling great as the sales and promotions man for my buddy's business, Baywatch Dolphin Tours. I had successfully launched our wine tour parties where we invited people to drink wine aboard a sunset cruise on our boats and see some dolphins too. I had met a great gal earlier at one of our former promotional events. She worked at one of the hotels here in town. We had discussed meeting up at Art Walk, but because we had a wine cruise scheduled just before Art Walk, I strategically asked her to come join us on the wine cruise, and then we could go to Art Walk after together. Now, this was the time of my life when I drank a whole lot, so it was always part of my plans to get drunk and have fun. No shame in that game, to be real. But let me say this loud and clear. Just because I don't drink doesn't mean others can't drink too. I'm the one that can't drink, not anyone else. It's your business. I don't judge. But this story is why I don't drink and why I can't drink. The whole time we had these plans to go to Art Walk, so we were going to get drunk at Art Walk together and say goodbye. She wanted to see Art Walk before she moved away. She was planning to move away from Galveston to Florida with her grandma. That was one reason we were going out to Art Walk, to get drunk, kind of a goodbye thing. Then she said she had a party to go to afterward, her friend's party, and that I could come with her to the party. She came on the wine cruise. It was a really nice time. She was making little eyes at me, and I was making little eyes at her the whole time. She drank plenty of wine. I wasn't allowed to drink until after we docked, but once we did, I caught up quickly. We drank lots of wine with everyone first. Then we're gifted 2 bottles of wine each to take along with us for our stroll to Art Walk. Go have fun, you two. We brought 2 with us and stashed 2 away for later. We brought 2 wine glasses with us as well. I put her on my arm, and we marched along happily up and down Post Office, 2 bottles and 2 glasses in hand, arm in arm, heading to Art Walk. Well, I shouldn't have thrown that. I had just moved to Galveston at that point, and these businesses up and down the Strand and on Post Office were all, and on these businesses up and down the Strand and on Post Office were all the people I knew in Galveston at that time. So I felt very comfortable walking in my goofy sailor uniform from Baywatch Dolphin Tours and speaking to everyone, because I did that pretty much every day at that point as it was. So here I was now, this time with a beautiful young woman on my arm. I was 40 years old at the time, and I definitely figured this woman to be around 26, but I didn't care. I just knew she was good for me. So we were walking around having a good old time, and we had eventually made our way back towards our cars. Somehow we ended up at Songerfest Park for a minute and sat down. We were talking about all the little quirks and things that we liked in our lives, and I was telling her about my collector's store that I did online and my love of Star Wars and Marvel Comics. She told me about her love of horses and fashion shows, you know. Then we got in close and at one point had a brief but sweet kiss on the lips. I didn't press forward even though I was really drunk, and she kind of pulled away. So after we had our kiss, we started walking back to our cars to go to the party. At this point, we were really drunk, and we were play fighting along the way. We didn't know each other very well, I'll say that. Suddenly, she was very concerned about getting to the party. Like, she realized how late it was and wanted to get there quickly. She was making a huge walk across town to get to her car, and my car was parked far away, so she was going to drive me. We walked a long way to her car down Harborside, actually. We were panting. We were sweaty. It was hot out, but we made it. She gave me a ride to my truck, my work truck, which was my buddy's and my boss's work truck, actually. She dropped me off and then sped away. I jumped in my car and tried to call her on my iPhone to see what was what, but she wasn't answering. I was drunk as hell, and I was wondering why she kept driving away from me. We had had such great moments together earlier while wasted and had these little connections, I thought. I really felt that she was into me, and I was certainly into her. But anyway, she's moving forward and moving now, making zigzags, trying to get rid of me. I wasn't sure if this at first was some kind of extension of the games that we were playing together back and forth. I knew we were having a lot of fun, banter back and forth, and a lot of play that way, so I thought maybe we were just kind of continuing that. But I thought it was weird that she wasn't answering her phone, and then when I pulled up next to her at one point, she didn't even turn to acknowledge me, which infuriated me. So yes, I was a drunken asshole, and she was ignoring me, which is the worst thing I hate the most in this world. So she's moving forward. I'm trying to catch up to her, and I see that she's riding up towards Seawall. She runs a red light to make the left onto Seawall, which was crazy. And I saw that there were no cars coming up ahead, so I just continued to drive fast, and I made that hard, fast left through that red light, and then lost control of my boss's work truck. I slid across Seawall, and the truck sideswiped two cars on my right-hand side. The rear driver's side rear view mirror popped off and flew into the passenger seat. I freaked out. I panicked. I sobered up almost instantly, it felt like, and I didn't see anyone around. And yes, folks, I ran. I was not ready to spend time in jail. I had just gotten over a DUI 10 years prior and finally put it behind me, and I was not going to do it again. I just wasn't, and I didn't. So I went to the side streets to my apartment, pulled the truck up, and assessed the damage. I started to whimper and cry at how stupid I was and how messed up the whole situation was. Why did this girl even do this to me? She liked me, and then she wanted to run away from me? Why did she do that? What the hell was going on? I was just rejected. I was just sitting there in my lonely apartment thinking about all the trouble I was already going to get into tomorrow. But what if somebody saw me? Should I turn myself in? I didn't know what to do, and I was so drunk. I was just so drunk. Then, out of nowhere, I hear knock, knock, knock on the door. I was petrified. I crawled to the peephole to look and saw the two women who lived downstairs in the apartment beneath me outside my door. They were both standing at my front door, and they never came to my front door. I opened the front door just a crack and said, "Hi, what's going on? Can I help you?" It was after midnight, you know. I said, "What's happening?" And they said, "We just wanted to let you know why all the police were here." And I said, "Police? I didn't see any police." And she said, "Yeah, we noticed your car wasn't here, but then we noticed you just came back. You didn't see all the police?" And I said, "No, I'm sorry. I just came home. I didn't see any police." "Why? Why were the police here?" The one girl told me that she was in her bathroom showering, and she looked and saw the door to her bathroom was open, and there was a man inside her doorway pleasuring himself while she was in the shower. She said she screamed at the top of her lungs. He ran away, which caused her roommate to run after him. They saw him running up, but they couldn't catch him. The police were called and they were trying to investigate. It turns out there was some construction nearby, and it looked like it might have been a construction worker. The women told me the police were there for a long while taking a report, and they just wanted to let me know while the cops had been outside. Keep in mind that this was less than 10 minutes after I had lost control of the truck. Yeah. I said, well, I just had a crazy night of my own, and told them I was going to get some sleep, and I was real sorry about what happened, and I would keep my eyes open. So, of course, I closed the door, and I was just so grateful and shaken that things weren't worse. I texted and called the girl over and over. I'm ashamed to admit it. I was drunk and dejected and rejected and had ruined my boss's truck, and I just wanted to know why the fuck she decided to go away from me. Sometime after 3 a.m. or so, she finally answered one of my calls. How she answered was she screamed, "What do you want, psycho Star Wars boy?" Turns out that my enjoyment of Star Wars was somewhat of a deal breaker for her, and she told me straight out she decided that she didn't want me to come to her friend's party because of it, and she didn't care about me because she was moving to Florida in a few days, and she didn't feel the need to bother to tell me why she didn't want me to come to the party anymore. Although she should have just told me instead of just not told me and drove away, but that's also when she revealed to me that she was only 20 years old and I was too old for her. I had been running around town getting drunk with an underage girl all night. I felt absolutely terrible, and I still do to this day, about the fact that I sideswiped 2 cars in Seawall and ran. I saved my own skin with the law, but of course that event still caused a big rift between my boss and me. He never really trusted me quite the same after that, and that was definitely a deciding factor that we didn't continue on. Oh, he's dead now, by the way. That story is one of the main reasons I don't drink alcohol anymore. It's bad enough I do anything at all that messes with my brain. It just doesn't work for me. Alcohol and me do not mix. That's the true story. That's the scariest story I've ever had in Galveston, and also the reason I no longer drink as well. I'll be sober from alcohol 12 years on New Year's Day. Please don't applaud that, because remember, I just told you I sideswiped 2 cars on Seawall and drove away. All right. All right, thank you, Dave. All right, so that was fun. All right, so our next storyteller, he just stood up, he stretched his legs. He is, it's going to be Sari. Okay, well, we've got a little switch around. It's a very loose show tonight, everyone. So Sari is going to be our next storyteller. I'm excited. She is a new storyteller for me. She is, coming on up to tell us some stories, and I can't wait. So once again, Sari, ladies and gentlemen, I should say your full name.
Let me back away from it.
Yeah, sure.
Smack it. Ready? Okay.
I can move this closer.
We're good. This is true. Let's do that.
Oh, you want that? All right.
And the boom can go elsewhere. Can y'all, is this good enough? Can you hear me? You may not want to after I talk. Okay. Wow. Halloween ghost stories. Can I name a few? First off, I dead people. I see dead people. I also have an ability to, they call remote view, which means like I can see in somebody's house, place of business, something, and never leave my home. It's a gift, and then sometimes it's not. When you see certain things or know certain things, I do deal with the light. Mostly my gift is that I use it for is to help people. Whether I've been called in hospitals to help people that are getting ready to pass, or they don't know if they are.
a lot of times, usually it's husbands, they'll call me in to look at their wife, and then when I start seeing certain things, I'm able to say, you might want to say what you need, but don't worry, they're not alone. Here, right into it, huh? Okay, sorry. Eat the mic. Um, so that happens quite a bit when I start seeing spirits. I could tell you this much, that no one ever dies alone, ever. Um, and there's a peace before that. So, I see spirits in hospitals all the time. But this one particular time, there was 3 days. This woman fell. She just had a broken leg, goes in for surgery, it all goes well. But then, after that, total decline. She was on dialysis 24/7. Things just went to crap. She went to ICU, and her husband calls me, and my husband and I go up to the hospital. And I looked at him, and I'm like, this is not going to go well. I saw 2 spirits. One hung out with the nurse, and she was hooked up to 3 IV poles, and everything was filled. Bag this, bag that, plug this in, everything. She was vented, which means on life support. And I saw a spirit that was hanging out with us, and one that always stayed over here. It's kind of like a threshold that, like if you cross that room, that doorway right there, you feel something different. Well, this happened for 2 days. But then I saw them getting closer. On the day before she passed, one was at the foot of her bed, and one was holding her hand. And not only did I see it, but I got it on film. And I was able to show her husband, and he says all I wanted was to say something and hear her talk to me one more time. And I whispered in her ear that I was there. He'll be taken care of, and he wants to talk to you. It's okay. And she actually got motivated enough that she actually heard that, because she wasn't quite in a coma. And they had an interaction briefly. And before morning, she was gone. But he got to see the spirits that were holding her hand. And that brought him a lot of comfort. They had a very good marriage, 13 years together, and he just loved and adored her. But this happens a lot, and, I tell people, take the time. Make the time. We're all busy. But make the time to say what you feel. If I say, I'm always telling people I love them, I mean it's not just a word, right? Because tomorrow, you don't know what tomorrow brings. January and Eddie been with me quite a bit, and we've worked together. I have been attacked spiritually by demon-type things. I think I'm semi-strong. They tell me I am. But let me tell you, evil exists as well. So how many, I know a few of you because I could feel you. But just raise your hand. How many of you in here have seen something that you thought, well, maybe if I say it, that can't be. I know definitely you have. Yep. So in my journey as a child, I started to see things that would slide on the wall or people or this, that, and the other, but then I didn't believe it. Like many of you probably didn't believe it. Then I started to see the space shuttle blow up, plane crashes. And I'm like, why, God? Why? Why are you showing me these things when I can't do anything about it? I think because it had to be so horrific I would remember it. And realize that I do this. It made it real. Okay? And then it escalated to where, remember the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze? Demi Moore? Remember the coin on the wall just going down? Right. I had plates on the wall. Remember years ago people put plates in a frame, and I still do. But they would slide down the wall, never break. I would see a man's spirit walk into my room at night, and exit by morning. So now I not only see people, I see animals. I see things that probably shouldn't even be in this time frame. you know, it's hard being me some days. But I like to try to find truth. Often what you hear, not with Eddie or anybody there, but often what you hear in a lot of ghost tours are beefed up a little bit to make it more exciting. Okay, I'll say it that way. I'm trying to be very tactful. but the truth, they're here because they want to tell truth. Okay, I mean, I've been in Diana's Bartique many times. I spent the night in there, 3 nights over Mardi Gras, and I had to tell her little visitors to leave the stuff on the racks because they would be thrown off or something else would happen. I'm like, no, this is her stuff. And then other people come into her bar, like Miss Tracy, that y'all know, and then, I just open my mouth and say, by the way, which I did with another lady over here tonight. So it's if you're confused, if you don't know, there's always somebody around, like me, Eddie, January, all of us share it because we might be able to help you. There's no school you can go to for this. Where do you go? I want to talk to dead people. Where do I sign up? You can't. It doesn't happen. But there is scientific proof that's proving now what we do and what we see. So I have to believe that we're here. The world's in a bad shape. I have to believe we're here to fight for good. So just keep fighting for good. And it's hard sometimes because I'll tell you, the more things that you go through good, there's twice as much bad coming your way. The idea is just to stay on that path. Stay on it. Thank you all for having me. Thank you.
Well, hey, since we have Sari here, okay, let's give her a big hand, everyone. Let's give her a big hand. That's Sari. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, the knees, I've heard it from my dad my dad famously said to me, yeah, I'm right here. My dad said to me, yeah, Dave, when you get to be my age, getting a new knee is like getting a new pair of glasses. That's my dad's Midwestern accent. They talk like that. Anyway, I should say, once again, everyone, let's give it up for Sari coming on, bringing a story tonight. Yes, thank you so very much. As she heads back, and before we bring up our last storyteller tonight, it occurs to me how grateful I am for this scene, for our group, and for our people that keep coming back, and keeping this going. And our newcomers. I mean, it's so great to have Diana here. Thank you, and we got to make sure we, Anyway, it's just really nice that we're doing this, and even though it was planned for a while, it was thrown together last minute, promoted last minute, and here we are still. We all, we're doing it. So let's make this an annual tradition is what I'm trying to say. Okay, our next storyteller is a man that we know very well here at 10 by 9. His name is Aaron Stevens. He's got a story for us, and I can't wait to hear it as always. Aaron Stevens.
Hi. I am not going to tell the story that I have prepared. I had a great story about the first time I saw the first time I saw a couple ghosts, and that was the theme of the night, right? However, so many good stories got told, I'm totally changing what I'm going to talk about, and I haven't even prepared this. So, I'm going to talk about dowsing rods. Your fault. And I'm going to do whatever I want. All right, so the story about the two ghosts was great. One of these days, if you ask nicely, I'll tell you the story. One had a hoodie, one had a ball cap. They walk across the railroad bridge that led to nowhere somewhere in 1990s. But the story I'm going to tell you instead is because dowsing rods and weird pyramids and other methods of understanding what we don't understand have been brought up so many times tonight that I just have to tell this story. Dowsing rods. So it sounds like nonsense, right? You take two sticks. So original dowsing rods are two willow branches. You go find a willow tree. If you are a true cowboy, you go find a willow tree, and you cut. You find a healthy willow, and you cut two branches, and then you walk around with them in your hands, and they do things, and you're a magic cowboy, right? Yeah, you have two magic wands, and you tell people where water is. It sounds like complete bullshit. However, the first time I saw it work, I saw a guy do this in the middle of Central Texas on top of a hill through at least a kilometer of granite. This old cowboy got two willow sticks and walked around, and he told my dad, drill the hole right here. And my dad drilled a hole right there, and water still comes out of that hole today. Now, the next story, this is the real one. This is the one that that's a real story, but this one is so batshit insane. So for a while, I built haunted houses for a living. In 4 years, I built 6 haunted houses in 5 states. I did this professionally. It's the most absurd profession you can ever have. At this particular time, I was in Terrell, Texas. Anybody know that? Somewhere, yeah, a little bit east of Dallas, somewhere between there and Texarkana and nowhere. Yeah, so there was a giant Halloween park there. I built one of the haunted houses that was there. It was, except it rained 3 out of the 4 weekends in October. We had the worst year ever. And the particular haunted house that I was working on at that time was 300 feet from the power pole. No, I'm sorry, 300 yards from the power pole. 900 feet. The main power line shorted. One main power line goes, 900 feet from that pole to that house, and it's dead on a Friday. Everybody's trying to go to the haunted house. The proprietor is losing thousands of dollars an hour for every person that he cannot put through the haunted house that he's invested money in to get people through the door. That's how you do these businesses. I am standing there with the electrical engineer, the electrician, and the state inspector, who is telling us that there's no chance. Then an old cowboy, I swear to God, an old cowboy, skin-tight jeans. The guy's like 50 years old. He walks over. He's like, I can find the shorts. The electrician looks at him and says, there's no way. The electrical inspector tells him there's no way. He's like, you got 2 willow sticks? Everybody says no. He's like, well, how about a coat hanger? So we get a metal coat, literally a metal coat hanger. That's what passes for 2 willows. Dude, and he's like, do you have a can of spray paint? Yeah. All right, so we cut the coat hanger in half. He bends 2 little hangers, and he starts walking up and down this length in 6 specific locations. 6. He stops, and his little wires do he's like, spray that. We walk up and down for half an hour, and he's like, that 6 exact locations. He's like, those are the spots where it's shorted. That's where it's burned through. Fix those, and it'll work. The electrician says no possible way. the proprietor is in such a dire straits financially. He's like, whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, cut it open. The electrician cuts open the 6 spots. All 6 spots are shorted. The electrician patches the 6 spots, and only these 6 spots in 1,000 feet of cable, and the whole house turns back on. Dowsing rods. An old cowboy with 2 sticks found 6 electrical shorts. You cannot make that up.
All right, once again, everyone, that's Aaron Stevens. You can make some noise for him once again because, hey, that was amazing. And, wow, I was over here taking photos. Yes, yes. So everyone, it is a 10 by 9 tradition for the host to wrap up the show at the end. So that is my role as well, as in addition to. We're gonna wrap it up properly first, and then turn it over. Yeah, thank you. I mean, I thank you for asking for that second story. Should I do this my own story next? I mean, all right. I'll do. I was looking through the ones that. Okay. Nobody is with you. Okay. All right. So how about this? Incomplete. Yeah. Well, that got your attention, didn't it, Brandon? All right. He is married after all, you know. You know, you guys shower with the doors closed. I'm just kidding. All right. Well, you know what? It's terrible. All right. How about this? No, that's too sad of a story, man. I can't do a sad story for you. This is very All right, so I'm going to wrap it up as I planned. I wasn't prepared, Judith. Sorry. I was getting it ready, and then Aaron's story ended very abruptly, and it was amazing. He had such a great wrap-up, so I'm going to finish it up the way I'm going to do it. Okay. All right, thank you, everyone, for coming to 10 by 9. So it is my role as the storytelling host to wrap it up properly, and that's what I'm supposed to do. And again, yeah, see, I'll tell you, changing course for an ADHD person is a very, very hard thing to do. Very, very hard to change course. Yeah, it's very hard. That's why I'm just impossible to deal with. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we had another amazing show. It is Halloween themed, and of course, we started off with a brand new storyteller. Her name is Tracy Waddle. She is not only very cool and very beloved here, especially in the ghosty community, but she's also, what a presence on stage. She looked amazing, telling the story, very powerful, Tracy, and true life ghost stories, just the kind I wrote. These are my notes, just the kind that we hope to hear tonight, and very specific descriptions of ghosts. I mean, it was almost too much to handle. There was a lot going on with Tracy's story. I loved it. Okay, our next storyteller was Eddie Spector. Yeah, absolutely amazing. He shared his life experiences and why he is who he is, and then shared a fabulous new device that brings and draws spirits to us. Now, I don't know exactly what we were supposed to see, but I did feel the power and energy coming from that device, and I got some great video of it as well. I heard sounds and noises, so I don't know what you were expecting, but I was not disappointed with your story, and that I definitely wrote here that I heard some kind of voicing coming from that. I don't know if I was supposed to, but I sure did. Our next storyteller is our birthday girl, Jenny Strom. Sometimes we call her Jenga, but she's Jenny, and she shared 3 experiences that gave her chills. One of somebody dying and then hanging around for a little while, and then you saw that I wrote that you saw an old lady, but you felt a positive vibe from her, which I thought was really good. And then she shared with us her personal journey with her mental health struggles and challenges on her birthday. And, that's exactly what this is about. This is about catharsis. This is about sharing. This is about telling stories. This is the oldest tradition that humans have, honestly, if you think of it, right? Before we were even banging 2 sticks together, once words were formed, people were forming stories and telling each other. So that's what we're doing here. And thank you very much, Jenny. Happy birthday to you. I love you. And she brought cupcakes as well. If you haven't had one, you better grab one. So January, of course, one of our 10 by 9 people, one of our 3. There's myself and Carla in January. And you can always rely on January to get up here and give a powerful story performance. Of course, a harrowing tale of finding a stranger in her back seat with the Volvo. And then I got transfixed, and I just wrote pulled over by the cops, and then I sat and listened, and then I forgot to write notes, but it was amazing, of course. And then we had our break, and then I talked, and then we had Sari, I think. Yeah, Sari came up after me, and let's give her a hand because, she shared her story about being a remote viewer. And something that I was touched about and really thought about again. I sat and listened, stopped taking notes, but you shared the difficulties of that. And that was something I hadn't considered. And I think that we all can consider that if you have some of these extra abilities that many of us do not, that, it's not always enjoyable. You think you might like it. So Sari, made it clear that it's a little bit of a struggle, and that's why it was, super enlightening. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for being here. Please come and tell more stories. And then, of course, we wrapped it up with Aaron Stevens. You can always count. I always like to say his voice is whiskey and gravel and honey all mixed in. It's just amazing. Yeah, isn't he? I could listen to him read the phone book, right? But it was. What was the story about, ladies and gentlemen? Dowsing rods, and I wrote here, not complete bullshit is what I wrote, and it's a real story. It's a real thing. So there it is, the wrap up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that officially does finish or complete our 10 by 9 Galveston Halloween edition. Now, that being said, that Brandon, thank you all so much for being here. Now, that being said, Brandon did say that we could continue on until 9. So I'm going to open up the floor, something we don't normally do. I'm going to say if anyone wants to tell a ghost story, just get a little practice in. I'm sure Brandon won't mind. The microphone, it is a very loose show. Because in lieu of any preparation, nobody has any preparation. Is anyone ready to tell a story right away? Okay, so what I was going to say is it doesn't, how about this? What I wanted to say is that maybe we can do a Q&A with Sari. And that's what I was really hoping, something like that. Wherever you want. Okay. So, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to say thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. Please do this. 10 TENX, the number 9, space, Galveston. Okay. I think everybody's here. Okay. But if you're not on Facebook or Instagram following us, please do so, okay? Please help 10 by 9 grow. Go to Instagram, go to Facebook, TENX, the number 9, space Galveston, or just Galveston. We all got it, right? I can't tell you how imperative it is that everybody does do the social media thing with us, please. And thank you to everybody that has done it already. I'm going to turn it over to Eddie Spector. I'm going to let you introduce Sari. Is that cool? I love this guy, by the way. Hey, is anybody taking photos tonight? Can somebody take a photo of me and Eddie Spector? All right, cool. All right, nice. Are we still live? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Spector.
Friends, I thank you so much. I am a paranormal investigator and the owner of historical ghost tours in Galveston for over 15 years. The person I'm about to present to you that can help you in many, many things, it is so beautiful. When I first saw there was a business card at Diana's that promoted this beautiful Sari, and so I called her, and we spoke for about 4 hours. That's just how it happens when you connect with new people that you can really have connection to. And so this person you're about to speak to is very prominent. You really need to know this. She is the real deal. She is beautiful. She is well connected. Introducing Sari.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Eddie. So I'm just gonna sit here, and I already have a question. No, no, come on, come on. So let's give a little backstory, okay? I've never met her until tonight, and the first words out of my mouth are about the children that she has hanging around her. It's not. I should say hello. How you doing? Nice to meet you. No, it was that. And then after I got off here, because you might have noticed that my voice is not great because everybody's hit me at one time. I went to get water, and then all of a sudden it hit me again, and I whispered in her ear, "You're going to have a lot of slave children around you." So this is where this picks up.
So when I was 18, I went to Nigeria. And one day, being there, we went on a tour, and they took us to a little bunker. And the bunker had like these steps that went down inside, and inside there were shackles on the walls and whatnot. And as they opened the door and I put my first foot on the first step, I literally was in physical pain so much that I started crying and I broke down. And people, when I would tell the story, like first off, like, it's hard to tell somebody the story that doesn't believe in stuff like this, right? But to me, it was that I felt pain that happened in that room. And it makes me emotional every time I was talking about it. But I hadn't thought about this in a long time. No, it's fine. But, when you said that about, like, a lot of slave children, that's when the story, popped in my head again. I'm like, oh, my gosh, I haven't thought about this in so long. But so my question has always been, like I said, it's hard for somebody that doesn't practice, or that is not always connected to the world that you live in, right? To kind of make sense of it, I guess you can say. So I guess my question is, did I feel what I feel? Like, did I feel the spirits in that room? And why did I feel those spirits?
Well, okay. Let's address, did you feel them? Yes, you did, or I wouldn't have picked them up. Okay. Why did you feel them? Do you remember me saying that I saw the Challenger blow up? And you can ask my husband. I woke up crying. Remember when it was like the space shuttle was piggybacking in it, and then upon entry it blew up? I saw this before it blew up. Like for real, blew up. And it's like, oh my God, this, and I told him it's gonna, he's like, why are you crying? I said, because this is gonna happen. I said, it hit, and to me in my head, it hit another plane. And the other plane was the plane that it was on, that the piece came off of, that hit the shuttle, which caused it to blow up upon reentry, because it couldn't handle it. It was damaged. Sometimes we have to see things that's gonna stick in your brain and stick in your heart for you to remember them, because it's going to lead you on another path. And I can tell you right now, you are connected more than you know. You just don't know how to use it. But if you hang around us, you'll figure that out. Because it's kind of like, it's like children learn from their parents, right? This is hot, don't touch this. It's a growing thing. You have to learn. I didn't have a teacher. I had to learn the hard way. She learned the hard way, but we work together. What my weakness is her strength. Okay, and there's a story that we'll tell in a few minutes that had she not been there, I don't know what would have happened to me. Because so you also have to learn how to ground yourself, how to be strong, because even the strongest person can be attacked and can be hurt. So another thing, people, if you guys go on investigation, do not do this by yourself. Not ever. Go in pairs. something, you always have a buddy. It's kind of like diving, always have a buddy. Okay? Because when something goes down, you got to have somebody there to help. Does that help you?
Okay. So earlier I mentioned something else to you guys that you right away also picked up and told me that I'm valid in, like, feeling that I am an empath. And I mentioned to you guys that, everybody that knows me and my husband know that we are hugging people. We love people in general, and we love our community. And so our way of showing that we love people is by hugging everybody. However, being an empath, that picks up on energies, I have people that I literally cannot hug. Not that I have anything against them or that I don't like them, but there is some energy about them that really physically holds me back from hugging them. How do I deal with that? Like, how do I make sure that the people that I cannot hug know that it is nothing personal? And I know you said something about no hugging policy. Well, that is something I cannot do. So what else? Because I hug, So what else can I do to make people not feel like, I'm singling them out or there's something about them that I don't like or something, and still make them feel like they are valid and, they're good human beings or whatnot. I just can't. So what do I do?
Can I see your hand? The other one. It's so nice to meet you. I didn't have to hug you, did I? Right. Just take a step back, claim your space, still keep talking and redirect. And it'll work out. It'll be fine. So don't give it too much. No. Yeah. Yeah. You're very welcome. I hope I helped you. See my husband, he might have one of my cards with me. I don't know if he does. Call me anytime. These guys can tell you I will return your call. Thank you. Thank you. Sure. Okay. As far as the remote viewing goes, I had to be about between 36, 38. That's when I kept seeing the shuttle blow up, and I actually saw another aircraft, and all 18 members were killed. I knew they were 18 members because I also saw the tail section, and every number on there equaled 18. And I described where it was, and the next morning it's in the news. So about that age is when I've, as far as spirits and all this, I was a child, maybe 10. I've always taken care of older people, always been around this, but then it was, I start seeing things and I never said a word because you just don't. Although I didn't not believe I saw them, I always knew I did. I just didn't feel the need to voice it. But we went to a new house when I was in 9th grade. And that's when I saw the spirit of the man that would walk. You know the silhouettes, guys, that look like a cowboy, and he's got the hat on, and he's the silhouette, black silhouette? This is what I would see walking in my room, and then the next morning he would be walking out. And finally I figured, okay, he's not there to hurt me, so it's all okay. But that started, and then the plate sliding down the wall, and then later I found out a woman died in the house. But it just happened. It happened in that house, and then every house after that. I lived in Galena, Maryland. The town is known for the finest, purest form of silver there is. But it was a Civil War town. I saw a massacre happen that was called Swantown. You can look this up. I had to go to records and stuff in Galena, Maryland, because they covered it up. The settlement, the Indians were friends with the white guys, but the government wanted the land. So they ended up massacring, killing everybody there, and blaming it on the natives, saying they attacked first. So that was uncovered. And prior to it being uncovered, when I would ride or something, my horse would go crazy because they could feel all this stuff around. But yeah, so you can find it called Swan Town. It's Swan Lake, but it's been renamed just outside of Galena, Maryland. So yeah, but you know, and when I feel things, I don't like to give people bad things, you know. Oh Lord. Yeah. You had. Yeah, but here's the thing about that. You sure? She is evil. And I'm sorry, people, but I just say what it is. She means you harm, and your little boy's been with you all night. Um, but yeah, she walked in with him. But the grandmother, this is why my voice is not good, because I'm busy fighting with her, because I want her to leave her alone. Okay, because she means her harm. And it yes, and it worries me. It's got me bugged. Uh, she she hates her more than I can describe. I've never hated anybody in my life, but she hates her more than I can even describe.
I said your to her mother. I said your mother is moonlighting from hell. Is what I said. And I've never told Sari that ever.
We need to figure out how to get her out off of her, seriously. But I don't think it's a fight you can do alone, because that's how strong she is. You know what I mean? Yeah, she does. It's going to take us. It's going to take the group. Go ahead.
So my grandparents were so evil, and my mom is the youngest of three siblings. They would sit there and pit their three children against each other, and they would have a favor. Like, this is my favorite child now. And they would pit them against each other. When I was 12 years old, my mom finally cut ties with her parents because my grandparents were that awful. We were horribly abused. I am the only one of my generation who was never actually hit by my grandparents because my mom wouldn't allow it. My cousins were beaten horribly. It's like every type of abuse you could think of. Last night I was with my boyfriend, and he goes, the two men in your life who fucked you over the most are your grandfather and your ex-husband. He literally said that to me, and I was like, and it shocked me that he said my grandfather. And that is the grandmother who does not leave my side. And I banish her all the time. Anytime she's near me, I banish. I tell her, get the fuck away from me. You don't. Not long after my grandparents died, I started having dreams about them, like very vivid dreams. And the first one I had about my grandfather after he died was I'm sitting in a dining room. And it's like this dark room, and my grandmother is bringing us dinner. My grandfather and I are sitting at the table, and my grandmother is serving us. My grandmother was the worst cook in the world. You wouldn't want to eat her food. And they're asking me questions like, "But Tracy, how are you? Are you doing okay?" And they're like being overly nice. And I push the chair back from the table, and I just go, "You're burning in hell. This is why you're asking me these questions, because you're trying to get the fuck out of hell." And then they turned into who they were and started screaming at me and like yelling. And I just go, that is the grandparents I knew. And I don't know why I had that dream. And I have always managed to keep my grandfather at bay. But my grandmother, my mom sees her mother. I see my grandmother. They hover near us, because they're trying to still control and manipulate us even in death. It is like the abuse is beyond belief. And that's why I'm able to block so many things, is because I block that type of shit. And January saw my grandmother near my mom. She's always near me. And anytime I see her or I feel her presence, I go, get the fuck away from me. Because they were awful, awful people. You know, you hear about grandparents like, "Oh, you bake cookies with your grandkids." Oh, not my grandmother. Oh, hell no. My grandparents lived on the San Francisco Bay. They lived on the bay. We lived, they were waterfront. Me and my cousins would go out and like build sandcastles in the sand. We would get yelled at. They dug holes in the sand in the backyard. Are you effing kidding me that you said that to your grandchildren, these young children who are just out playing? That is the shit I grew up with. And it is why I'm probably as fucked up as I am, because of that.
Sari, what would you say to that? How can we help Tracy get this curse away from her? What do we do?
Actually, something came to me that I wanted to talk to you about too. I know you banish her and everything else, but there's an underlying, because you turn the gas. Well, it's the bloodline, but actually you can, because it's like a stove, like a gas stove. When you turn it off, it's still got fire to it. It's called pilot light. This is the deal. They're still feeding on something in order to stay there. So, and it could be a feeling. You are, but sometimes it takes 3 or more to really extinguish. You know, like a fire truck comes in here and multiple fire trucks show up. Sometimes it takes more to really get it going. I mean, you look at the Warrens, for example. How many times did they go through trying to get rid of evil? Because all they did was deal with evil, where I deal in the light. But still, it takes multiple, and they had to do it together. And that's the situation you're in. But I think we can come together with that. Yeah. Yes. Yes. The- right, right, right.
And again, I'm only saying that for our live audience.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, everyone. All right, nice. Okay, cool. That is on David Galveston. Okay, oh, do you have some more? Yeah, no, let's switch. No, for sure. No, that's great. Okay, love that we have Sari here. And okay, cool. Oh, you guys.
So I don't know if this is a stupid question or not. Okay. So she mentioned witches earlier, right? And so on my mom's side, we're German, and we have Hungarian blood in us. And my mom actually used to read tarot cards, and had Sixth Sense or whatnot. I never really gave. Well, but my mom actually stopped at some point because she said she doesn't have like the energy to keep that energy up, if that makes sense, right? So she stopped doing that for other people. And but one thing she always said, and she had books over books over books at home too about white witches, because she said that the women bloodline in our family are witches. I never really paid much attention to it because I always just thought it was something that my mama would say. But I want to know, is it true? Kind of like, how do I know? Like, I mean, am I a witch? No, see, I'm not trying to actually be funny about it, but like, I maybe because of the things that I being an empath or having the children that you said that you see around me, does it have anything to do with it? Am I a witch? How do I know I'm a witch? And is there actually really a difference between white witch and dark witch? And so how do I know?
Well, I mean, darkness is darkness. It means cruelty. It means you have no moral compass. Okay, you're not cruel. Oh, I see. I see. That would probably be a better question for Tracy, but I can tell you, I can already read you, so I know you have the abilities for empathic abilities. An empath means you have empathy, right? So, an empath, you can feel things like, for example, if I hugged you, I have the ability to know where you hurt in your body, and I can pinpoint it and tell you. It's just another little thing I do. Okay. Um, you have to be able to feel things in order to help people because they're going through something they're feeling. See what I mean? Okay. So as far as the witch thing goes, it's not a realm I deal with too much that I know much about. I would say ask Tracy more. Um, but as far as an empath, yes, you do, because that's why the people I told you tonight are there. So you can ask her about that. She was asking about witches.
It really comes down to every woman down the female line. We all have abilities. And it's my evil grandmother would never really talk about hers, and my mom would. And I have had multiple tarot readings from multiple